its heyday, what would it have been like?
Angela Bates is looking into her family's past.
And maybe you could hear the voices of the people in the area. You know, maybe my great-great-grandmother was saying, "Tom! Can you hear me, Tom?"
Angela wants to keep the story of what happened here in northwest Kansas alive.
Maybe that's what you would hear in the distance. "I'm coming, Zine!"
This is the story of how Black Americans, the formerly enslaved and the recently freed, seized opportunity and moved into the American West. It is a story of courage and survival. It is a story of free land that maybe wasn't as free as advertised. It is a quintessential American story. "1863 was a ferocious time in the United States. The Civil War continued. Abraham Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation to free those enslaved in southern states. And the Homestead Act made free land available to encourage settlement in the West. Nicodemus, Kansas is a town founded during America's turmoil and growing pains.
American history needs to be written about from a lot of different perspectives.
Today, Nicodemus tells the story of Black Americans who settled the West.
When you look at the history of Nicodemus, you're looking at it from the lens of an African American who had experienced slavery.
Ministers in Black churches in Lexington, Kentucky began talking about the dream of an all-Black town in Kansas territory.
After being emancipated, they hear of this opportunity to head out to Kansas and be landowners. How great is that? And the Homestead Act at this time did not discriminate against Blacks.
Probably anything was better than being enslaved. You're going to try what you can. And so, yeah, there was going to be founding members of communities that preached the good word that this was going to be a way to build the community that we've always wanted.
Because the Homestead Act made land available to Black Americans and the formerly enslaved, Nicodemus is first of many stories of Black Americans settling the West.
It's not just a simple act. It's an act that had major ramifications for a lot of different people and for a lot of cultures.
The bravery they had to like, okay, yes, we're gonna get on this train that we've never done before. It's almost like they were coming to the moon, coming out here to northwestern Kansas.
You know, a lot of the promotions really exaggerated things. And so they probably didn't have the real imagination to imagine the kind of things they were really going to experience.
But racism and prejudice made homesteading a fundamentally different experience for Black settlers.
It was difficult enough to just be a human trying to live off the land. It's hard. It's not easy. But also when you are struggling to be recognized as a person, as an individual, as a member of this nation, that you deserve to be here, there is so much more pressure.
Despite these pressures, Black Americans carried their own cultural traditions to form new communities.
The things that they were bringing with them culturally was their spirituality.
When they got out here, One of the first things that they did in the dugout was they built a church inside the dugout and then a school. Faith was very important. And so coming out here, they trusted that God would lead them and protect them.
Well, I think it's no secret that blacks have always sang. During slavery, songs were being used to communicate.
Music was very important to the folks out here.
I think it was a way of soothing the experiences that they were having.
Even with successes, black homesteaders struggled in a country where racism is a reality.
Even though the Civil War is over, it's not over in the minds of people.
We had sundown towns that surrounded Nicodemus. Blacks had to be out of town before the sun came down. So white folks would say, "Don't let us catch you in town after the sun came down."
Even though there were the opportunities to homestead, they still faced the challenges of racism.
The peak of Nicodemus is like 1885 through 1889. And the people are excited because the town is booming. It has everything that you need. What they needed most was the railroad. That's everybody, their little town needed the railroad. The way that the railroad is laying its tracks, it looks like it should come right through Nicodemus.
All of the tracks are going right towards Nicodemus.
Despite raising a $6,000 bond, the railroad did not go through Nicodemus.
They just simply bypassed Nicodemus, and so that devastates Nicodemus.
Nope, doesn't happen. From that point onward, Nicodemus goes into a downward spiral.
The railroad and later the highway avoiding Nicodemus greatly affected the town. To find jobs, people began moving to more urban areas. The population of Nicodemus declined over the century. Today, Nicodemus is being kept alive by its descendants.
These are all monuments to their lives.
Angela moved from Pasadena, California.
So we are in the Township Hall, which is the visitor center for the Park Service.
Angela's niece, Lucretia Horn, works as a park ranger. She's able to share the history of her ancestors. But the story of Nicodemus isn't only the past. Angela's nephew also moved back and opened a restaurant in a nearby town.
But what's it feel like to be on the land again?
It's surreal at times. It's just knowing that there's so much history. You know, every time you walk out that door, you know there's history.
The story of Nicodemus and black homesteaders will remain well into the future.
We need to look at the past in terms of what the African American did with their freedom before there was an industrial North, before there was even the concept of really fighting for civil rights. We were still just trying to experience freedom. African Americans took freedom and they took the Homestead Act and they came and they settled, they created their own all-black towns and they flourished.
Is this a sad story? No, it is not. It is not. It's a beautiful, wonderful, encouraging story. It just shows the tenacity and the bravery of the folks that came out here to Nicodemus, and the town survived. And it is still a living, breathing community.